Thank you, Alan and John and Terrell. He had to get back to his favorite girl, but that's all right. Good morning, Saints. Uh, I want to thank you right off the bat for coming this morning. There are a lot of other places you could have been. But I really want to just talk with you this morning. I was not even aware of some of the news that Deacon Green had shared, but I'd been thinking about Marva and Laura, and it's good to see Catherine. Always good to see James. Sorry about yesterday, bro. Folks, this sharing this morning is not to alarm anybody, and I'm not dispensing fear, but Saints, we are at a point in our lives where we're going to have to make some decisions. And the decisions that we have to make are dealing with the things that will be coming by way of economics, unfortunately, even some political stuff, but we're not going to get into that this morning so much. But I've got 10 things that might help us once we make a decision about these things that I'm going to share with you. Particularly when war broke out in Israel, I mean, all the believers, they were pulling out their notes, getting their Bibles, and all of that. That's fine. But I want to say, and you probably will turn into your favorite, I don't even know if they still call them televangelists or whatever, or your favorite person you like to study with, and you were trying to get their perspective. And all of that's okay. I'm not passing judgment. I'm nobody. But I sometimes when we get busy, when things happen, we feel like we got to do something. And sometimes we rush into things and it's more of an emotional response. And most of us have lived long enough to realize that when emotions are the main impetus for the things that we do or say, it usually betrays us after we calm down. And again, not coming against anything that anybody has prophesied or taught or made DVDs and they got it out because they're saying now this is for this time now. Listen, when he says my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways, he means that. And again, I'm only saying this because I am a part of us. I'm not saying this as if I'm on his council. I'm not on his council. I don't qualify. I'm a part of creation. But, again, we get busy and we feel like we got to do this and we should do that and do that. And sometimes we just need to just chill. Just chill. Yes, you get nervous. I mean, we're constantly besieged with sometimes not pleasant news. And You know, sometimes, saints, we don't know what to do. But when we don't know what to do, he gave us instructions even about that. He said, listen, having done all you can to stand, stand. And that's, and you can insert chill right there. Because at the end of all of our efforts, at the end of us trying to execute the Torah that we understand, when we're not getting the results, that's when he's going to come on the scene. Now, I'm not saying this, that it's like, you remember how I Dream of Jeannie used to always fold her arms and I think she would blink her eyes or something and then do her head, and stuff would happen. Yah doesn't work that way. Folks, Yah does not work that way. Yes, we're children of his. Yes, he loves us. But we don't command him like that. He moves as he will. My thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways are not your ways. As high as the heavens are above the earth are my thoughts and ways higher than yours. See, a lot of things, and as a human being now, I'm speaking to a room of fellow human beings. Sometimes life just doesn't seem fair from our perspective. It doesn't seem fair. But we have to remember, there are only a few people. I think of Moses, where Yah actually said to him, "Come, let us reason together." Come, he even the Most High, he had gotten a little irritated with the Hebrew Israelites. And he had pondered, I guess, as you could say, listen, I just wipe them out and just start all over. And of course, in Hebraic writings, it said he and Moses got in a discourse about this. And Moses was saying, well, look, if you do that, people would just say you just got them out there, you brought them out there in the wilderness, and you just slaughtered them. Now, again, his thoughts are not our thoughts. Our thoughts are not his thoughts. And a lot of times, folks, we kind of, I don't know, deceive might be too strong a word, but we're prone to believe that we see things the way he sees things, and we don't. Now, I know that probably will bother some people. And I'm not questioning, do you have a relationship with him? I'm not questioning what we like to call faith. I'm not questioning any of that. I'm just saying he don't think like we do. He doesn't move the way we would do. And that's a blessing that he doesn't, because, see, most of us, when we get in our feelings, somebody got to pay. When we hear something we don't like, we tend to get our butts on our shoulders and we get an attitude. And we start trying to find fault with the person that said whatever it was that upset us. There are there are two words that just blow my mind every time I think about it, and it's in the Bible, and it said, reading it in the King James Version, it said, and God repented. I don't know if anybody remember that. See, that's a short sentence, but that says something. We used to sing a long time ago, God can do anything but fail. And so when I read that, I was like, wait a minute, hold it. Said he repented. Now, I'm not saying he can't change his mind, because he's changed his mind about some of us. It's a good thing he did. Because only he knows when to allow a person, and Pop used to teach about this all the time, a reprobate mind. Remember that? Reprobate mind. Because, we as human beings sometimes, because we understand we have a free will, so we say, hey, this is my show, I'm going to run it. And sometimes we run it and we drive our lives, and we sometimes drive it right in the ditch. And he comes along and he gets it out on the ditch. And we do like your little kids and grandkids used to do when you were first letting them learn how to ride a bike. You were running behind it, holding it. And then when they got good, they be trying to steal with one hand, and they ain't hitting your hand hard, but they trying to, okay, I got it. We do him like that. We run our lives right over in the ditch. We make some bad decisions sometimes. We make some bad decisions in spite of the good counsel that we were given, because once again, we defaulted to how we felt. And I'm not against emotions. Emotions were given to all of us. And everything that he gave us, we need. But we need to learn when and how to use it. And so he gets us back on track, and we riding down. Okay, I got it now, Father. And then some of us, depending on what the subject matter is, we go to God for everything except who we may date, who we might marry, or who we gonna get in trouble with. We want to make that decision. I'm not fussing. I'm going somewhere with all of this. And this is a we discussion. We, us. And not only those areas, we got to be careful who you go into business with. See, challenges are on the horizon in every facet of life, and it's not just the good old US of A. It's everywhere. It's worldwide. So none of us can point fingers at any other country. All of the countries got a little soil on their pristine white gowns. All of them. We're in the last quarter of this year, and the month we call October got only a couple of more days. And the feast days, the spring, so to speak, feast days will be approaching. And I'm just throwing that out. You might kind of want to start looking at some of that, because part of it's about some first fruits, which means we're going to give up a few of our substance. So I want you thinking about that now. This is the fourth quarter, but now I'd like you to put in your thinking about the first quarter, 2024. I'm not saying throw the rest of the year away, but this is how we need to start thinking, because we want to ingratiate ourselves more and more into the purpose of the feast days, what's in it for us, and what is it that we're to do. I'm still going somewhere with all of this, and I haven't forgotten the things that I wrote down that we need to make a decision about, because we need to make a decision about these things, because this will help us, because in times past, I said to you, people are going to be approaching you wanting to know what your stance is or what your take is, and they're not, some of them won't be coming to trip you up. They really want to know. And there may be somebody that you hardly ever even talk to, but you don't know. They've been watching you for, when it might be somebody on your job, I don't know. Might be a neighbor that all you do is, when you're going out to get your mail, you wave. You never know. With all of these things happening, people are really, really uncomfortable. I know they get in their cars and they, everybody's got the I'm successful look. But in the coming days, folks, we need to work on being real and spend less time trying to look a certain way. We need to be people want the real McCoy, because a lot of people are almost at their wits' end. Listen, and again, I'm not picking, not prying, when that student loan thing got reenacted, that threw a lot of people's budget off. A lot of people's budget got thrown off. Some of them don't know how they're going to make it and maintain everything. And again, I'm not picking or prying or nothing. You got $1,000 a month car note, and you got a student loan, and you got maybe an apartment, or Lord help you, you got a mortgage. That's pressure. That's pressure, folks. And we don't put as much emphasis in these last 2 months, but and that's neither here nor there either, because we get at each other about some really unimportant stuff, and I'm not dissing anything anyway. I'm just saying, folks, let's get back to making the main thing the main thing. The main thing is, am I faring okay? If I'm faring okay, am I running my life in such a way that I can help somebody else? Don't stop at, oh, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. Yeah, but somebody you really love or care about, they may not be doing so good. first thing I had here, and most of us have already made a decision about that, but it's one of the first things is are you anchored where you live? Are you anchored where you live? Because see, you know, when things are getting kind of shaky, you want to make sure your foundation is sure. You want to make sure that if there are any cracks, you had a professional come in and smooth them over. Are you anchored where you live? Do you have to move? Number 2, make a decision that I'm going to get serious about figuring out money as soon as possible. What do I mean by that? Figure out how you're going to take care of your obligations, keep a good name in the community, be honest, be a person of integrity concerning financial matters, because that's going to be more and more needed in the coming days. Because you're going to find a lot of people that have been pretending to be a person of integrity. When pressure comes, some people will fold. Is your business partner trustworthy? I don't know a whole lot about it, but radio personality got in some real estate ventures with a friend of his, and the feds came in, and I think they arrested the friend. And of course, when something like that happens, now everybody's looking at the DJ because they're saying it was a scam, and you know, it may be, it may not be, but you just, that type of publicity, you just don't want that associated with your name. Figuring out money as soon as possible. No, money isn't everything, but it's needed, particularly in this country. Let us be more stable concerning financial matters. The third one, and this is a big one, the decision to fully commit. What are you talking about? Look, I'm not just talking about I'm fully committed. Every time the church doors open, I'm gonna be. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being fully committed to the Most High, that you will work on the areas that you don't want to work on, because you know that that will please the Most High. It's going to be uncomfortable. Some of it's going to be uncomfortable. Some of it, I just assume I don't want to think about that. I don't, you know. But in order for us to grow and in order for us to be of assistance to somebody else, and in order for us to encourage somebody else, because see, if somebody else is in that room for improvement, it's a little easier when you know they doing some hammering and nailing and you doing some hammering and nailing, and maybe you can encourage each other to keep hammering and nailing. And right behind the decision to fully commit, and I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about being able to quote scripture backwards, forwards, sideways. No. I'm talking about living Torah, living out Torah, the Torah that you understand. And that's when it'll start pointing you in some areas that you really would rather not deal with. But he's saying, yeah, let's go there, Barry. Let's go there. Let's go there. Because most of us, we're creatures of habit. See, the stuff we good at, that's what we major on. And a lot of, I know in a lot of business circles, they'll tell you, if you're real good at something, zero in on that and just get better and better and better. No, because in one of my former talks, I did say there comes a time in life, folks, where good enough is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. See, a lot of times when we think something's got to be perfect, we never start. Or we're slow to start. I can't do that. And so we don't try. I know Pastor Hoyes, and it was real good. One of the rabbis said, you either do it or you don't do it. Ain't no such thing as try. Well, I'll put it this way. Exert some effort into trying the thing. And if you don't succeed, exert some effort again. Ask the one that made you, how can I get over this thing? How can I get through this thing? Right behind making the decision to fully commit, make a decision about who you will keep close and who you will let go of. Sometimes we got to take inventory of who's utilizing a lot of our time. And I know we want to try to be there as much as we can, but it's only 24 hours in a day. And most of us are either working or running a business or trying to enjoy retirement. But you need some time to sleep. And I know a lot of times, particularly when we're talking about the kingdom, some of us feel like whoever it is, wherever it is, I got to avail myself. Well, use some wisdom with that. Now, I'm not saying, listen, there's a scripture that says if it's within your power to do good, he just said do it. And that's something that I try to do that, but I got to be sensible too. Here's where being fully committed, you got to know your body. See, sometimes you'll reach a point where I don't have any more. My battery is low. I need rest. And, in times past, some of us, we keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then our body say, hey, I quit. So we faint. I know I've fainted before. Fainted at a bad time, but that's. But I fainted because I kept pushing. And so my body said, Barry, I quit. And so I passed out. Decide who you will keep close and who you will let go of. Now, let me say something about who you let go of. I'm not saying call somebody up, lay them out, tell them I never like you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, because sometimes it could be folks that's blood related to you. So I'm not saying let them go. But watch your time. Watch your time. And again, of course, always give in to Torah. If it's something you can do and it won't deter you from what you really were trying to do, go ahead, do it. Keep it moving. Search your heart, because if it's in your heart, if you want to help, you'll find a way to help. But you gotta take care of yourself too. I've had several conversations with several of our senior members, and it's a tough conversation. But I'm at a, because I'm right behind them, and I just say to them, listen. I know people are real precious to you. But I say to them, listen, you got to live too. And see, the one thing about being youthful, we all realize, because young people leaving here too, but they got youth on their side. They got a lot of get up and go. Some of us, our get up and go, got up and went, and it ain't come back. But please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying don't do for your family. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you got to live too. And we want you here so we can see you, look in your face, and occasionally hug your neck. A lot of people are stressed out trying to make everybody else's situation perfect. Saints, again, sometimes good enough is good enough. If it's good enough for you, it's good enough for them. And I'm not saying you don't love them. Sometimes even there, sometimes in the asking, because you've probably rarely ever said no, and I'm not telling everybody to say no. I was at a store that I go to a lot, looking for some cleaning supplies. And they know me in there, and I was checking out, and one of the cashiers was saying that her granddaughter, I guess the latest Apple phone is out or something. And her granddaughter, she want that new Apple phone. I bet that thing over $1,000. I'm sure of that. I don't know that for sure, but I bet it's over $1,000. And that's her grandmother, and I bet Granny I probably never said no. But Granny said, well, she eventually said, I had to explain to her, listen, I can help toward paying for it, but your mom and dad gonna have to chip in. And I was so happy. Because, no, she's a nice lady. And all grandmothers are wonderful, all of them. Mine were too. But Grandpa sometimes said, well, but grandmother, that'll start a fight. But I know sometimes Grandpa might have said, and they don't learn how to say, well, when he go in the other room, I'm going to sit down next to Grandma. And they know, they get to sitting there, man, and they just so adorable. But she eventually, I don't know whether she got it, but she offered to pay part of it. And I was glad because, see, a lot of them, at that age, they're not, even if you tell them no, they still love you. And I know you don't want to disappoint them. But again, you got to live too. Golly, where's the time going? Let me move on. Oh, here's another thing. We need to decide. Remember when I talked about earlier the decision to fully commit? Well, if you make the decision to fully commit, you then have to make the decision to put in the effort to fix the pain. Putting in the effort to fix the pain. See, because the stuff that we really don't want to deal with, sometimes it's painful. It's painful. But once you said, hey, man, no, I'm fully committed to this thing, I'm going to put in some effort. Remember when, who was it? I think it was Paul. And see, we still, a lot of us listened more to what Paul said, because Paul kept saying, hey, yo, Father, the devil, he buffeting me, he fighting me. And Yah would respond, my grace is sufficient. Oh, the devil fighting me hard. And I said, the more you study and the more you read, and I've said in times past, it's not always the adversary. It's not always the adversary. Putting in the effort to fix the pain. And again, listen, I'm not saying this like it's going to be easy. But when you stay at it and you keep working at it and you keep working at it and you keep working on it, you're going to overcome. And that's going to be a happy day until you start thinking about, oh, there's another situation. But then, like David did, you can encourage yourself because you put in the work and you came up a little higher. You went a little further. You stood a little longer. And in these coming days, we're going to have situations where we're going to have to encourage ourselves. Because other people are going to need you to encourage them. And we can't tell them, look, man, I got my own thing to worry about. No, they're coming to you. Wait a minute. I don't know why, but I just felt impressed to come to you and share this with you. You turning me away? Oh, man, that'll cut you right there. Because then you know, oh, man, y'all must have sent them by here. Number 6, I got 14 minutes. Number 6, we've got to decide, we've got to make a decision. And this word is kind of tricky for me because we've got to decide whether or not we're going to be happy. But see, you got to decide that for yourself. Now, that's one time I'm using you. We can't decide if you're going to be happy. Only you can decide if you're going to be happy. Now, we do all realize happiness is a state, but it's not always present. It's kind of like the Shekinah. Yeah, it comes, it rests. I mean, you might have had a moment. Somebody might call you, another saint might call you and say, I had a breakthrough today. They are happy and you're happy that they're happy, particularly if you knew something about that situation. But then later on in the day, something may not go well. You still had that happy moment. I pray we learn to enjoy the moments. Life is but a moment at a time. And we got to decide, and I'm not talking about that, what is it they used to like to say? I'm not talking about that Pollyanna stuff, the whole world falling around and you just like tiptoe through the tulips. I'm not talking about that. That's something wrong with that person. And when we decide to be happy and we decide that we're going to try to encourage others, that brings on the 7th one. And that's deciding to be a pillar of light for others. Sometimes when you're down, the best thing you can do is try to make somebody else up. If you can. Now, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. And it's hard sometimes to give an ear, like I said, when you got your own situations going on. Decide to be a pillar of light for others. And this is what's going to draw people to you is his light that they see in you. And I know people, we say that a lot in church, but I'm just talking to you today. Sometimes people will say, I don't know. They'll say it's your personality or it's the smile you just have on your face. He can use all kind of stuff. It's not all the time. Remember how in some of the Bibles had that picture of Yeshua and they got that little sunlight, some of us would like to think that's what people see. And maybe they see it, maybe they don't. But sometimes it's just, I don't know, maybe the way you smile. I don't know. People going to be drawn to you. People going to be coming to you, and they may or may not want something. But we got to be ready. Oh, Vern, I just thought about, I think your grandson asked you to cash app him one time. Did you cash app him? I'm not picking on you. Number 8. Now this is hard. Number 8. We got to decide. And I don't care what it is. It might be you might bake something. Ruby. No, I ain't gonna put no pressure on you. Building something from scratch. Now, it don't have to be baking. It could be a friendship. It could be a friendship. Because it's kind of awkward in the beginning, you know? You don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't want to say the wrong thing. And so, wait, hold it. This ain't going to work. If we both going to be, let's just be who we are. And let's see what happens. And I'm talking a friendship now. I ain't nothing else. I'm talking right now, just a friendship. How many people, now don't raise your hand, how many people are willing to try to build a friendship from scratch? See, because again, we all know each other by face. Some of us been going here for 11 years. But how close are some of us? I had a situation. With a sister. I had purpose that I wanted to, it was impressed upon me. I wanted the sister to know that I just, I was glad to see her. And so I approached her, I talked to her, she talked back, but not a real talkative person, but that's all right. That's all right. But I really got blessed because I don't know if it was that same day or another day, but they came back and they was trying to explain something to me about themselves. And I was like, that took effort. See, like I've said 100 times, we come here and we see each other. But how many of us really know each other? And now when I say that, I'm not talking about, Lord knows I ain't talking about. We don't need to know everything going on in everybody's house. That's the worst thing in the world. But, you know, I remember one time, and I'm going to get back to that. One evening I said to Greg, Greg, I'm hungry. I said, let me go buy you a sandwich. You know what Greg said? You ain't going to buy me no sandwich. I'm going to buy you a sandwich. I said, okay. But see, the thing was, we went. And we still friends today. And he paid for the meal. But, you know, just something like that is what I'm talking about. You know, I don't do it much anymore. But I used to get up and I would say, man, you know, I'm excited because today I might meet somebody. And I was just talking about in terms of friendship. I might meet somebody that could change my life for the better. I don't do that much anymore, but I used to. I used to get up with that kind of like, you never know. But see, if we live our lives in a rut, and there's nothing, listen, there's nothing wrong with living a disciplined life. We gotta have discipline. Being disciplined helps you to make wise decisions. So but building even a friendship, or maybe if you don't cook, maybe you might want to try to make something. I'm gonna leave her alone. I called her name on the in a service one time before. I hope I ain't get no. No, Reg said he won't gonna beat me up in the parking lot. Oh, building something from scratch. I see it, Reg. 9. The sister came back and she explained to me that she don't talk a lot. But you know, that warmed my heart because I was like, she trying. So, because she trying, I'm going to keep trying. And who knows, we might be friends. Friends. Okay? And who knows, in time, maybe me and you could be friends. Number 9, decide to either be a mentor or a mentee. See, we can all learn something from one another. That's how a friendship can grow. I can learn something from you, you can learn something from me. And the last thing, I see it, Reg, the last thing, and I didn't get a chance to. All of us, decide today. This one you can decide today. Always leave things better than the way you found them. Somebody invite you to their house for dinner. You make sure you're the most gracious, not greedy, gracious guest. You know, make such an impression. Somebody say, you know what? He ate up everything, but we're going to invite him back. You know, leave every situation. And that's how I try to do in my business. And I'm going to close with this this morning. See, the last few weeks, I had been getting here early because the guys was coming. I was encouraged. Guys was coming. Well, this morning, ain't but one of them showed. And I got to the first building 2:45. I had finished that building. That's the biggest one. And I was over in the second building. And my help showed up at 8 o'clock. Just one of them. But this is what happened. About 6:30 this morning, another cleaning crew showed up in my first building. I let them in. Now, the owners ain't said nothing to me about this. Now, if I've been replaced, wouldn't you think they would just call me and say, Barry, don't come in? So I ain't say nothing. I opened the door, because they was going, the lady was going to, she went to the drop box. So I said, well, they gave her, she know the combination. I went on, opened the door. and everything. And I said, well, Father, now you know all this stuff going crazy, the UAW, the strike and all that. And I know they done reached the tentative thing, but do you know some of those strikers had to go to payday loans? Payday loans. Now you got payday loans, and maybe some of their kids now got to pay back their school loans. I'm going somewhere with this. Well, make a long story short, I went back to cleaning up, and I noticed they were doing some different stuff. So I said, well, okay, they was doing something. But then, next thing I know, my cleaning caddy gone. Wait a minute. My cleaning caddy. So I go down the hall now. See, because I'm used to, when I do a post-construction clean, sometimes a lot of contractors are out and everybody's, got different jobs they got to do. So, and you learn how to work with it. And don't ever lend your tools to another contracting outfit, because when they leave, your tools leaving with them. Don't do that. But, I said, well, okay. I went down there, and the guy was, I had cleaned all the bathrooms. The only thing I had left to do was just mop the floors. And I was feeling pretty good. I was like, man, ain't nobody show, but I knocked this out. And, I'm going to go ahead. Well, this guy, he was in the restrooms, cleaning the restrooms. And I said, ho, wait a minute. And so I knew he didn't speak English. So I pointed to that cleaning caddy, and then I pointed to myself. So he understood that. And then he did something that was really smart. He pulled out his phone. And I guess you can put something in the phone, and I spoke in English. Yeah. So, I didn't ask him, what are y'all doing here and all of that, because this is not my building. Now I got a contract with them people, but they can invite who they want in there, I'm like, man, now here we go. So he gave me my stuff back, and I took him in the, and that must have been their first time there. So, because they didn't know what anything was. So I was like, well, okay. So I started showing them stuff, and you can use this stuff belonged to the building. This stuff belonged to me. Then the lady come downstairs. Now she spoke a little English. And she was asking me a lot of questions, and I was like, maybe we need to call Caitlin. Because now I'm getting kind of mad, because I'm like, if I lost the contract, all you had to do was tell me. And then I thought about, Barry, how you gonna tell somebody to control their emotions, and you don't? So I calmed down, and she said, no, we don't have to call Caitlin. She told me who you are. That's still, that was nice, but I still want to know, well, if you know who I am, what are you doing here? But I didn't ask. I'm saying all that to say this, saints. Changes are coming. Layoffs are coming. I hope none of this happened to none of you. Those 10 things that I went over, you've got to decide, we have to decide are we going to stay who we are? Are we going to stay who we say we are, regardless of what happens? See, that when they showed up that morning, that kind of threw me, because I'm like, wait a minute, man, I'm in here, you know? And I'm saying that because, see, sometimes when news come, it come quick, and sometimes you don't have time to react, but you gotta, hey, maintain your frame. And then when I left the building, they started doing, because it was another crew coming in to do something different. Then they started doing their work. So they all spoke the same. And I've a lot of people have told me, well, hey, look, why don't you do this? Why don't you hire this, hire that? And I said, yeah, makes sense. But I try to look out for my people. I try. But Lord, we make it hard sometimes. I've told a lot of franchise owners, I said, listen, and I'm gonna close. I see it, Rich. I said, listen, because sometimes we get together and we start complaining. It only take one franchise owner to start complaining, and then, this happened and that happened. I said, listen, we had an excellent work ethic. We lost it. Another group of people picked it up ×2. I said, I'm gonna tell you now, and that's what I think this happened to me this morning, because I told them, I said, listen, if those people, and that's for anybody coming here, they're gonna work circles around us. See, we have gotten too lax. That's really what I wanted to share with you this morning. Don't get too lax. Don't get too comfortable. And I'm not making this political. I don't care. You might be a senior VP or whatever. Don't get too comfortable. I'm not talking fear. I'm saying, listen, be grateful for what you have and work what you got. Make yourself indispensable. If you've been kind of negative on the job, stop that. You've been coming in late, stop that. You've been taking long lunches, stop that. You've been taking too many breaks, stop that. God bless you. All right.